Greetings, everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel, All That Is. Today, I have a very special guest for you, and I'm beyond excited to welcome IndigoAngel back to this platform. Before I give you a more detailed description about her work and her background, I just wanted to give Indy a warm welcome back to the show. Hi, Indy, and welcome back.
Hi, it's so lovely to be here with you. I'm so excited to see you and everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, it's been a while, hasn't it, since we connected? So I'm so grateful to you for accepting this invitation to come back on the show and talk about all the stuff that's been going on in your life.
Yeah, it's been so much, right? It's and
Yeah.
you know all about it. So
Yeah, we'll get into that. So, for the folks that don't know Indy or are not familiar with her work, I just wanted to give you a bit of a background, and it is my honor to welcome Amanda Jane DeMarco, as she is known, but she's also known publicly as Indigo Angel. Indy is an author, a teacher, a planetary grid worker, a starseed, a guardian ambassador from Hydra. She's been trained by the Lyrans, initiated by Ascended Masters and Venusian priestesses, and is the founder of Indigo Angel 222. For more than a decade, she has shared higher consciousness teachings, planetary gridwork updates, ascension sciences, and guardian transmissions with a global audience through her website, YouTube channel, courses, and writings. Indy describes her work as receiving and transmitting multidimensional frequencies of light and sound through the original Crystalla orders. Following years of intensive spiritual training and what she describes as direct guidance from higher dimensional councils, she has dedicated her mission to planetary restoration, consciousness expansion, and supporting humanity's transition into what she calls the New Earth. Indy is the author of How to Read Your Celestial Akashic Starseed Origins. She is the creator of Gridwork Facilitator Training Series, which is a training course that she has available on her website. And she is also a founder of Indigo Angel 222, which is a learning platform also available through her website. Her work bridges direct planetary field missions, guardian transmissions, multidimensional education, and applied gridwork and ascension sciences. She is also recently the author of 2 volumes of the Guardian Alliance Codex, Gridwork and New Earth Prophecy, which we will get into, which is a culmination of years of planetary missions, research, and transmissions. The Codex explores planetary stargate science, ascension architecture, guardian teachings, and humanity's role in the restoration of Earth's original blueprint and the emergence of the new Earth. As this vision holder of New Earth, her quest and missions and training grounds have taken her to places like Egypt, Rome, Machu Picchu, Niagara Falls, Washington, D.C., Algeria, Kauai, Hawaii, Serpent Mound, Mount Pinnacle, and the now destroyed Georgia Guidestones, where she has extracted codes, explored and studied stargates, their planetary mechanics and architecture. And so now, here in her physical embodiment, I'd like to welcome Indigo Angel to the show.
oh my gosh, my heart was just growing. It just grew a whole inch. So thank you so much for that super warm welcome and introduction to your show. And I just feel so much love and yeah, it's been quite the journey, hasn't it?
It has. And you always amaze me, Indy. You've got so much depth and so much breadth to your body of work, and it's like you just keep on going, and even like the last week, it's like, oh my gosh, you've taken us to a whole new level. And so it's always so amazing to see and to watch and to learn from you, just the work that you bring forward. And so you are my teacher, my greatest teacher in this reality. And so I'm so grateful to you for everything that you've brought into my reality and confirmed within my own ascension journey. So thank you, thank you, thank you for everything that you do.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. I love you too. Like I feel it. And I'm just, I'm happy to be here and be present and just be with you and just share this energy exchange and these codes. And I think our bond is unspoken in so many ways. It's a
Yeah.
soul journey, isn't it? It's going back to the beginning of creation together and singing the same familiar soul songs together and just knowing who we are. And we're so in alignment with our mission and what we're creating and what we're becoming that it just makes everything flow in accordance to the future and really the prophecies in which I think we stand by. And um, that was one of the things as I was just meditating to come in to speak with you today was what kept coming forward to me was to really focus on the light and focus on what the foundations are within that prophecy, like what's ushering it forward, what's bringing it forward, how is that going to occur, what are
Mhm.
all the phases that are involved in that. And so that was us just merging together, like our light bodies coming together. And I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see which direction we might be going because we both hold that light signature in our field.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
yeah, we're meant to plug it into all the locations on the earth as well and
I
turn
know you've
each one.
traveled so much, so it's really amazing to see that you've already been to all of these places, right? So it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been accelerative for sure. Once you
Beautiful.
start going, you keep going because
Yeah.
the next thing takes you to the next thing, takes you to the next thing. So it keeps unfolding. Right now, I'm getting the call to go back to Egypt again. I might be doing this in November, and then I've been wanting so deeply to put a Gridwork event together in Uluru, but that does seem to be there's like a lot of barriers, and
Mhm.
I just don't know if the timing's just right yet. So I might want to do just a lone trip there and explore and just integrate the codes and just get on the land first and kind of see, what's possible there.
Mhm.
But yeah, we got to get to Uluru. It's a Venusian superstructure.
Oh, I know, I know. I was in Australia recently, but didn't quite make it to Uluru, but it's definitely a different energy there. So yeah, I think it would be good to explore that physically for
Yeah.
yourself, to acquaint yourself with that energy. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Now, are you saying it's a different energy because there's a lot of darkness there on those lands?
I felt very, very dense energy, yeah. Even
Okay.
though I wasn't quite close to Uluru, like I was in Adelaide, but definitely felt the denseness of the energies there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting as well, is that there's some sort of torn up root heart seed atom in that
Hmm.
land
Hmm.
that is, they're trying to almost extract the core of like the light core axis of the planet out of it or something. Like there's something with
Yeah.
that there is an abundance, I think, of demonic energies, satanic energies, Luciferian energies. There's a lot of archontic forces that are working against those that are trying to keep those frequencies and energies at bay. I think a lot of the star seeds are under attack there. A lot of the 12 dimensional strand DNA holders and Emerald Covenant keepers are being hunted,
Hmm.
literally,
Hmm.
on those lands. Maybe not in some of the sacred sites that are being protected and preserved, but definitely in the main city areas and also where ley lines are intersecting Pine Gap.
Yeah.
Um, I think Alice Springs. I definitely know Alice Springs is there's something going on there that there's some sort of resistance there because it's almost like the core access of the prophecy gates. I
Yeah.
mean,
That's like the prime mother archingate, right? Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
hold that thought. I think we went way beyond where we were supposed to go, but hold that thought because I
Okay.
do want to dive in. I do want to dive in. So for today's show, I just want to take the roadmap that and just do a circuit around the writing of your book. We'll just talk a little bit about to New Earth because in a way that's sort of centered around what my teachings are as well. And so my audience is familiar with where I'm going with that. And so I just want to bring all of that together and offer them a wider perspective, if you will, and what your teachings have to demonstrate in terms of bridging that gap, if you will, to new Earth.
Mm.
And so we'll delve into that and just unpack the writing of your two books, and then we'll do a bit of a tour, if you will, about the governance, the hierarchy, the structure, the laws, the councils, and the foundation upon which
Mm.
these hierarchies or the architecture is built upon. And so I'm very curious to hear about that, and just from the perspective of whatever council or whatever guardianship you want to speak to that about. And then I just want to also lay the groundwork for how this blends in with the various stages of ascension. Um, and I know that you and your vocabulary is very, very advanced, but I want to bring it down to a sort of a stepping stone for people that might just be coming into this ascension reality, if you will, because that's where my platform is. It's like at the very base level of people just awakening. And I know you are like way up there in the advanced level. So I'm trying to, in a way, bridge that gap as well between you and I and what we are doing, but also give them a flavor of what it means to bridge this gap between the 3D and the 5D or the further dimensions within the ascension cycle. And then I think finally we can bring it back to what we were just talking about, Uluru and the arc of all of these energies that sort of sit within that Venusian lineage and the Magdalena lineage, or the Order of the Rose, as you call it. So I'd like to sort of bring it into that cycle, if you will, or the roadmap for this show, if that's okay with you.
That's a beautiful roadmap. I'll let you guide the map in, um, whatever order you'd like to go in, and I'll do my best to maybe explain more of some of the more advanced ascension terms. So if there's anything that you want me to slow down on and do a little description on anything, just let me know because
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
lack awareness around it. I really do.
Oh my gosh, no, 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 no. I love it that that you're challenging people with your vocabulary and that advanced stage of your ascension, because that's giving us the ability to understand what's really going on in that advanced level as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, no,
It's a
no, I'm
collaboration of like psychic terminology, New Earth lexicon. It's just Ascension terminology. So yeah, that's highly recommended for anybody that's trying to take it to the next level, that's trying to learn
mhm.
more, is to get those kinds of foundational teachings in, so that
Yeah,
way the transmissions and the messages will make so much more sense to you.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you want to just plant the seeds about how it came about that you started to write your books and bring these teachings to fruition, and bringing in the Guardian Alliance and those New Earth prophecy teachings in your book, the Guardian Alliance Volume 1 and 2. So yeah, just take us on a bit of a journey and shed some light, um, and bring us into the structural part of it as well.
Sure. So well, I think it started with really the recognizing the awakening of my indigo type 1 templating, and I started to really expand myself into grid work and applying that like literally doing boots on the ground missions and remote grid work missions as well, which allowed me to develop like more planetary holographic psychic depth perception, and I got to really understand that there's a whole energetic architectural substructure, inner earth structure, outer earth structure, multiple dimensional realms, multidimensionality, multidimensional spiritual kingdoms, um, Stargate complexes, Stargate sites, and extension arms. And, basically, the earth is just, it truly is, it's a spiritual extraordinary world. And us humans, most of us don't really have the ability to kind of see in through the physical or past the physical or through those veils and those layers and get to really take in all that is there. I mean, most people would probably have to probably do some sort of ayahuasca or something to kind of really get completely open. Um, my field has been opening rapidly over the years, more and more and more. Um, It really started, at the beginning of my ascension with when I identified my awakening as happening, but I realized that I was always like an awakened psychic child. But I did reach a point that my physical body just kind of opened, like it kind of cracked. And so it started to allow me to interpret all of these things at a much deeper level. And once I started actively practicing beyond that indigo type 1 templating activation within my DNA, like the whole, you know, all the codes really came on, and I started applying my focus to the gridwork missions, I just started collecting so much information. I mean, it was just collecting data, collecting observations, collecting psychic viewing, and, work with myself, but also work within groups and things like this. And just over the years, those experiences really stacked up. And I always knew that I was working within the Guardian framework of these things, but even when I was doing the grid work, I wasn't having direct contact per se with the Guardian Alliance, like actual headquarters and actual like official beings that would come forward and like transmit things directly to me type of thing. Like I was just having it was like that itself was a training ground per se to have those experiences. I was being almost like trained, prepared to understand higher level like being initiated given initiatory keys and things like this. So it wasn't really until the big mission that we did in Kauai, went to the Mother Island in 2024 with a group of Guardian grid workers, and everybody in that mission knew kind of how much I was carrying and had been carrying for so long, and everyone just really pushed me to put the book together. They just kept telling me like we shared that vision together in a lot of ways. We shared the book series coming together and the New Earth vision, sharing parts of that New Earth vision with everyone else. And so that just, when I got home from that trip, I just knew that I had to start putting all my writing together, putting all my information together, start like making it happen. And I really didn't want to because I knew how hard it was going to be. It was like procrastination, just waiting for something. And, I finally did have something come in and kind of turn my world upside down. And that was when I got sick, with my gallbladder and all that. So all of 2025, I really didn't have a choice but to write and put that book together because there wasn't really much else I could do. You're kind of sick in the bed and you're not as motivated and to do other things, you're kind of stationary. So it wasn't around 2025 that I started having like the profound contact experiences from the GA coming forward. And I still even tried to deny that for so long and push it away, honestly, until the experiences just became so overwhelming, and so real and so official that it was just like, okay, like I'm convinced. I am convinced. Like I'm just gonna stand in my power and just keep moving forward. And I felt in those moments, I felt it actually change my consciousness. It literally changed me structurally. It literally was like, no, this is who you're going to be. This is what you're going to uphold. This is how much you're going to uphold. This is how much you're going to speak upon. This is how much you have to hold within your field. This is how serious you have to take it. This is how present you have to be. This is how authoritized you have to actually engage. And it was like, okay, like, okay, I'm changing. I'm changing as a whole, not just me, but the whole consciousness and what I hold is changing for me to be able to hold it. Like it was just full on um planetary stewardship uh 10.0, at the highest level. So that's kind of, how I kind of came into the total awareness with both the volumes. And standing beside and behind and underneath and overstanding this work and being qualified and quantified enough to like truly vouch for this. It's something that is it's beautiful, but there's also a lot of responsibility that comes behind it. I feel like I have to be very structured. I have to be very ordered. I have to uphold divine laws, you know, not only speak it, but really truly uphold that within myself because the GA, this is what they stand for. I think a lot of people maybe not fully understand the totality of what the GA is. They just think this is another faction. This isn't just another galactic alliance. This is just another offshoot of or something with the Federation, da 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 da. It's none of these things. It is an entire planetary ascension, divine architecture governing consciousness field, basically. So it's holding within that all the guardian spirits of creation within existence, period, across the board, from the ultra terrestrial levels, the celestial levels, the cosmic primordial prime creator levels, all the way down to the planetary spirits that inhabit these realms, the angelic realms, the angelic kingdoms, the Elohai, the Seraphi, the to the dragons, to the serpent mothers, to the aquatic beings, the mermaids, to the elementals, to the star season, which also take guardian roles and contracts as well. We're within a whole alliance within technically Christos Sophia aligned nations, nations that are, entirely in service to others. They're in service to life. They're in service to planetary stewardship and service to protection of everything that is sacred on this planet. Um, and so there's many beings that want to come forth and speak on the Guardian Alliance's behalf. Many, hundreds, thousands. So it is a lot to kind of hold your channel or your field open to all of that interaction, but it's important to get to know all of it because each element, realm, spirit, being that comes through that's associated with the GA that considers themselves, they decide. They
Mhm.
decide whether they're a part of that alignment or not because it's according to their frequency, their vibration. It's according to their sovereignty within themselves and the truth of the energy signature of their heart and their consciousness. This is measured by source itself that aligns the being to that. So nobody gets to decide that for anybody or any living thing on the planet across the board, period. They decide. But basically, these are the beings that represent a source. They work on behalf of source, the divine creator. So this is not about warfare between, galactic races, even though the GA monitors this, certain galactic alliances do monitor those things and report observations and assist when and where they can, essentially, because they follow the divine law. So they're not going to do things against, you know, others' divine will and things like this. But so it's pretty powerful, and there's a lot that goes into this.
Yeah.
It's very big.
Thank you. That's a really well-rounded, beautiful explanation. Um, yeah, I sort of got this vision of corridors, if you will, that are leading off of this galactic or Guardian Alliance, right? And so would you say that is fine-tuned to your energy and what is coming through
Corridors like open passageways.
of intelligence or
Mhm.
of knowledge, and what it is they want to transmit through your energy. I know you've given us a well-rounded understanding of what this means, but say, for example, if I connect now with the Guardian Alliance, would my understanding be different to what you are bringing through, or would it be in attunement with my energy signature, and what I bring through, or my perception? Would you say that there's a lot of a difference between our two visions, let's say, and how it transmits through us?
I would say there would be differences between our interpretation. We
Okay.
have different lenses in which we're looking through, but at the same time, guardians, those that truly are have the aligned energy signature. One thing we all have in common and share in common is we're all carrying remembrances to the Emerald records. We're all carrying remembrances to the Diamond Covenant records. We're all carrying the encoding to this to some degree. Maybe some of us have like more access or less access, but really, whether it's conscious or not conscious, we kind of exist or function from that place. So yeah, you might have a differing variation per se, but we will most likely come back to that meeting place, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Of interpretation.
Mhm.
Um, because I do feel that there's certain thresholds that like individuated consciousness can't move through without higher source wisdom,
Yes.
basically.
No, I totally
Yeah.
agree with that because you have to on your own intelligence, let's say, come to terms with where you stand within this reality, right? And you have to understand how this world works, and you have to overcome all of those, that denseness, if you will, and accrete all of that light within your own being to understand all of these layers, if you will, and understand that and align it within your own being before you're able to step into a higher octave of understanding. And I've gone through that personally because every time I do research or I expand my own understanding about something, it's like tenfold or hundredfold comes back into my own understanding, right?
Mm.
So it's like you step forward and it's like you're given that much more information and wisdom from the collective, for you to absorb into your own understanding. So I completely get that. Does
Yeah,
that make
definitely.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't, and you really, I mean, you do have to integrate it in pieces, right? Because sometimes when you get information, you get new nuggets of information. Well, sometimes there's a lot that has to unfold within that,
Yeah.
experience, time, um, uh, karmic exchanges, just, whatever it might be clearing more things. So each thing opens up a new uh, developmental phase within your ascension progress as well. And so, yeah, I definitely agree with what you just said, though.
Hmm. Well, how about you show our audience the books that you've created? They're quite amazing in their visual aspect itself and just the size of them. So you've got volume one and two. That's volume two,
I
right?
have volume two. Volume one is in the other room, but it looks
Okay.
just like this. It just says volume one. And I do have a different picture on the back on each one. But yeah, volume two just recently came out. And this is the New Earth prophecy volume. So this really goes into how New Earth is going to come about structurally. A lot of this is written through the gridworker lens. So it is complex ascension terms. It is advanced, gridworker sciences, Stargate sciences, things like this. But it's one thing to know that New Earth is coming, but it's another thing to know how.
Yes. And I'd like to dive into that as well a little bit. So, volume one sort of laid the foundation, correct, for how all of this comes about. And you talk about grid working and all the mission, like all that foundation that you developed in order to bring all of that to fruition. So, and you talk about Stargate and Ascension mechanics as well in volume one. So, yeah, just take us a little bit through that foundation that was built, and then if you can talk a little bit more about the energetic structures of how that foundation is built upon and sort of manifests into that new Earth architecture.
Yeah. Well, kind of starting a little bit with volume one. So volume one gives you a lot of insight into, who the Guardian Alliance is, um, what the grid worker life template is about, how we apply that. Definitely goes into the beginning of grid worker applications, how to actually perform missions and guidance on boots on the ground missions, remote missions. There's a whole section for remote viewing because you do really have to develop more advanced psychic seer abilities to kind of get to some of these levels. And so there's a full on remote viewing protocol. It goes into planetary weapon systems because you do have to be aware of the booby traps and also the galactic history as to how these things are there, why they've occurred. So it goes into the cataclysm timelines and explaining how these things came about and expands into star fort sciences as well, which is another key component to New Earth prophecies and things like this. And then it goes into a lot of the Venusian history in the first chapter as well, because it's kind of a hidden record in a way that I realized was a missing piece. Just overall, in general, I think there's been a lot of the priestess sciences that are missing.
Mhm.
And so a lot of the prophecy for New Earth in a way is that the divine feminine kind of reclaims her
Yeah.
oracleness, her ability to lead, her prophetic abilities, things like this, which are necessary for us to be moved into the New Earth timelines. That the divine feminine or the Mary Magdalene bloodlines, the Isis bloodlines, the Sophia bloodlines are meant to really step into much higher leadership roles, which where they always have been. They always have been. It's just that there's been this, dark veil that's kind of come over them. They've taken a back seat to the Templar implant systems and egregore systems and matrices and patriarchal domination and control and things like this, that their oracle has been silenced. And it's a huge part of the reasons why we haven't progressed as much as we would have liked to.
Mhm. And there's that
But
imbalance too, right? Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh no, it's okay. I love you. Like, don't no worries. Then volume two, we move into the New Earth prophecy part of that. We start talking about grid grid models and grid consciousness as a basis of time perception, which then goes into the light matrices and the light blueprints that are coming into the planet that are kind of building upon the expansion of the new Earth technology from a light template, essentially, which is like the most quantified layer of consciousness that we can really get to kind of understand where these things are coming from, which really stems from the Lemurian light matricy blueprints and the Tiamat dragon structures. It is a lot about reclaiming um, those original consciousness architectures that were the primordial levels and layers of reality on this planet prior to impact, cataclysm, fallen records, and what they hold and why they're so significant. And they're just technically dormant. They're not like, in anybody's awareness technically, but they're still
Mhm.
there. They sustain all of the Edenic records of Earth. What the what life was like on this planet in its most perfected state, its original divine blueprint, in a state of planetary coherence, reciprocity, and divine law and things like this, where everything was governed in the most harmonic state, basically. So all of
Mhm.
that's connected to those light matrices that are in a state of dormancy, but they get awakened more and more as we have more influx of light coming into the planet, as we have structural shifts and changes in the planetary core, going from a violet core to a blue diamond core to a double diamond core, a golden core. There's many different phasing of this happening on the planet, very, very many different dimensions, densities, and planetary realms where certain shifts and changes are taking place and developing certain elements of the land and crystallization of consciousness, not only within the land, but also repairing like the major rift zones, the abyssal areas and the trenches, light accessing the deepest, darkest places on this planet, even for the first time in some timelines and things like this. So
Mhm.
we really move into understanding all of that in volume two. And that's just kind of laying the base layer and the base template for the beginnings of New Earth. And you really need both volumes to kind of get the idea of all of it, though. But it is a lot to bring in. These volumes, I mean, this is this is like 10 years of like my own work and research and
Yeah, it's
including,
quite a
from the
lot.
very
Yeah.
beginning. I mean, it could be a lot for someone to take in, but I do feel like it's written in a way that you can easily get these codes,
Yeah.
and accelerate one very quickly to understanding what all this is.
Yeah. No, I love that it's progressive in its writing. And, um, from me reading just a little bit of what I've done in volume one, I've been sort of in the background through your writing, so I've gotten glimpses of it as well. But just reading it, in one sitting, so to speak, I find that it's progressive, and you're right. The codes come in, and it sits with you, and it aligns with that
Mhm.
understanding, even if you're coming in not knowing any of this, right? So I think that's a great perspective, and a great foundation to build upon to understand if you do go to volume two as well, to get the larger picture of what's coming through with the new Earth and the bridging to the new Earth, right? So this might be a layperson's question, but can you tell me in your own words, if this is a natural evolution of where we are going in terms of coming full circle, if you will, to um, bringing back those damaged pieces, if you will? Is it a natural evolution or a combination of the two, where where the GA has stepped in to, in a way, assist with that realignment, if you will, of those broken pieces? So, is it a combination of human evolution, or is it a combination of them stepping in and saying, "Okay, that's enough. There's too much destruction here. We need to bring this back into alignment and
Mhm.
bring this energy back into a higher octave of evolution." What's your take on that?
That's a really good question. I would say what the latter that you just said, that it's a combination of both. Yeah, the GA definitely sees where the thresholds lie. There's many groups that have galactic interface and galactic perception, and when these groups coordinate together, such as like the Venusian Guardian Host Oversight Councils communicate with the Mintakan Guardian Host Oversight Councils, and they communicate with the Andromedan Host
Hmm.
Oversight Councils, they start to like navigate a bigger picture. One of the things that was presented to me was in the Venusian Mintakan Accord, and that was that for 19 years there would be a quarantine that would come in, and that they would place guardian shields technically in the fourth to fifth dimensional Earth planes, so that way a lot of the devastation fields, the cataclysm fields, the Armageddon fields, the nuclear devastation fields, the Stargate devastation sites don't continue to bleed through into higher Earth universal structures or higher harmonic universes, and um, begin to take down or collapse any time fields, any dream fields, or any portions of the new Earth architecture. So the new Earth evolution is an organic process.
Hmm.
The Guardians are here to see that through to the end of that process.
Right.
That's why they're here in the first place.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. And
Okay. Awesome. That makes sense, because to me, it's like, and this is just from me doing a lot of shadow work, and you might know this, my encounter with the Draco and all of that. It's like we have to, in a way, clear that field of that lower density energy in order to step into this higher octave, if you will. Correct?
yeah, it's a necessity because we have to kind of clear the root of evil from the planet for
Yeah.
sure. We have to clear the Saturn black cube matrix that's in the planet. Um, and the evil, yeah, heart of destruction. Chronos, all these things. Basically, those things are happening. I mean, I really feel like this is what the warfare that we see, like when we see like heightened warfare on the planet, that means the planet is getting a cycle of cleansing of
Hmm.
darkness. It's
Hmm.
the roots of it are getting pulled out, and negative ET races are getting sent off of the planet. Some of them are going, they're either getting extracted or their hives are getting destroyed, or they're taking evacuation routes. Some of them are given opportunities to choose to leave. and there is a cleanup of our gate systems that start to occur. Um, there are fail safes in the planet that trigger according to the gate systems,
Hmm.
meaning that some of the guardians in the beginning, like some of the primordial race lines, like the Aquafarians and Andromedan Guardian Council ships, they basically installed a lot of fail safes in the gates, meaning that if too many things collapse, things are automatically triggered to come in and start activating planetary defense systems.
Mm.
So things can't degrade too far, and warning systems are alerted. Other alliances are alerted, um, and people, spirits, energies, ultra terrestrials, they go into crunch time mode
Yeah.
for repair and rehabilitation. So you'll notice when we go through those cycles, you'll see more grid worker groups working. Like they'll be actively like doing like serious missions and things like that. There was a phase that we went through, I think it was definitely 2020 to 2022. Those 2 years, we were in active extraction, boots on the ground, clearing of reversal sites,
Hmm.
the deepest satanic sites on the planet.
Oh, that makes total sense to me because, from my understanding and my transmissions with Yeshua and other guides that I work with, 2020 was when the Draco were given a decree to leave this plane of existence. And so, they were like shown a decree by the creator and, probably the GA and all of those alliances. But in my understanding, it came from the Andromedans. And they were presented with this, and based on the Law of One teachings, which you are familiar with as well, that they were asked to leave this plane of existence. And just last week, on the 24th of July, I got a transmission to say that the Anunnaki had departed as well. So I don't know how that resonates with you, but the
Yeah.
Anunnaki go back way, way, way back, right? And so it's like this entire cycle is coming to an end, and all of those energy fields are being cleared. And so it makes total sense to me, when you speak about these things and the
Yeah.
cycles that are coming forth.
Yeah, I love that you got those transmissions too, by the way, that just, our
Those are
work
good
really
markers,
aligned.
right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Confirmation.
yeah.
Yeah. And we're not just saying it, you know? That's the thing. We're not just saying any of this. This is real. We are it is confirmed by so many other psychics and healers. We might have varying degrees of it, but
Hmm.
we're all like kind of circulating around these same particular time cycles. And I think, yeah, we're definitely having different insights on how it's occurring. I know Three Eye Atlas played a huge role in that, I think, with the Anunnaki
Mm.
leaving and um, yeah, them being called to like, yeah, either evacuate or aboard back on the Wormwood. I heard Wormwood was coming back around and that Three Eye Atlas might even be coming back around as well, that like the ship was stationed at Jupiter. So there's still things circulating. This is not
Right.
entirely over. I mean, the next 36 moon cycles are going to be very, very significant. And then all the way to 2044, very significant
Yeah.
time phase that we're in for continued restoration. Now, if we get to 2044 and we really get the planet cleared up, then those guardian restrictions and quarantine boundaries actually get lifted, and more people are allowed to really get to kind of like the 60 Earth or more activation of the sixth dimensional strand on the planet to be more liberated, which would
Hmm.
catalyze or um, so catalyze is the word. It would expand us all at a much higher level, getting to those tipping points that would really bring on the uh, potentially the 3 days of light, which would be like a second coming of another Genesis, essentially, where we more of the collective is upgraded to a 22 dimensional chakra system. Um, the potential coming of a third Messiah, but not in the same form in which you think it is. What I've got is
Hmm.
like, it could be a divine feminine Messiah, but then also it could be just like a collective rising of Christ consciousness.
Yes. Yeah, I
Things,
get that too. Yeah.
yeah, things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 3 days of light, it's a part of the dove swan prophecy, which is connected to the Turtle Island prophecy, all the things where we start to now activate um, the base structures for the Golden Light cities,
Mm.
harmonious civilizations, and things like this. But this is why it's so important that everybody's DNA gets fully turned on and we're able to clear out the dark forces, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so important, isn't it? The DNA healing part of it. And, just to give you another date, and this is again from my transmissions, I was given the date of 2064, within which all of these clearings will take place. But it's also a cycle for healing the DNA and, clearing all of those stuck karmic cycles within the human DNA. So yeah, it's so important to get ourselves cleared of all of these stagnant energies and then, just layers of so many things, right? When you think about it, it's like layer upon layer upon layer of so many things. And like what we see now in our reality is things like, chemtrails and frequency fences and 5G energy and all of these things, right? But it's within our reality. And just going back to something else that you said, like the intensity has increased over the last few years and it's become so in your face that you cannot ignore it anymore, right? And so you have to take notice of those fail safes that you were talking about, right? And so it's like you come into this reality and you're confronted with that reality of no, you're not just within this physical aspect of yourself. You have to now step into that interdimensional aspect of yourself to understand that there is a world beyond this physical realm. There is a world beyond that you have to understand the history of, the galactic history of,
Mhm.
in order to step into that multidimensionality of your own being, right? And so I think that is the alchemy, if you will, right? And that stepping stone within which we have to um, understand and align within our bodies to get into that next phase of our growth, right?
Oh yeah. Well, you have to do all that work, you know. I mean, that's not even something to look at anymore. Like this is something that's like difficult or anyways. This is just to be expected of you at this point. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And but then it's like it's time to get in correction mode. It's really time to step into your authority, not just your healing, but your sovereignty and your authority, because we know the war is over consciousness, but when you go deeper into what's holding us back and what's disallowing us is the war against our consent. And we
Hmm.
have, when we look at like what's clearing out, it's not just about getting like the Anunnaki and the Draco off the planet, because now it's not so simple, because we have these very developed hybrid breeding programs, these very developed force breeding programs, these very secret space program and black op military operations that hide the ultra terrestrial hybrid origin programs and things like this. And we have people that hold consciousness and DNA that solely exist to resist this
Hmm. Hmm.
ascension, because they are hybridized with grays and things like this, which means they innately lack empathy. They
Hmm.
innately lack the ability to feel emotions and things like this. So not only do we have to go through this construction and like getting the evil, but we have to go through a phase of recognizing um, our consent, what we're consenting to, um, peeling back some of these layers to these deep, dark, evil truths that are very difficult and hard to look at.
Hmm. And
And
guess who's ruling the world? These folks are ruling the world, right?
yes, yes, they
Yeah.
are. They are. They're the ones that are literally sitting behind our entire government. They're the ones
Hmm.
that are sitting behind the Federal Reserve. They're the ones that are sitting behind everything that's really holding these old world systems together, the education systems that we currently have.
Healthcare.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we have so much work to do. The new Earth is about, reforming all of this from the inside out and actually, um, yeah, changing consciousness structurally. So, I mean, I like the 2060 timeline that you're on. Um, I see timelines that are going into 2200, 2400, 2600, 2900, 12,000 CE, Common Era. That
Hmm.
we don't even get to the crown. We get to the crowning of this planet in 12,000 CE, which is where the Earth finally is restored as an Edenic Earth once again, once more. Like we are finally recognized as a star civilization.
Yay, Guardian
Yay!
Alliance. You can hold your book up and say Indigo Angel.
Where's my certificate?
I graduated.
I did. And then I came back.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's like we'll probably be looking down and say, "See, that's the work that we did, right?" Or some of it anyway.
Yeah. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, I do feel like I wrote this book for myself.
Yeah.
'Cause I need to find this when I
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
I need to read it like as soon as possible, like as soon as I can read.
Are you coming back, Hindi?
I am committed. I'm
Okay.
committed to see it through all the way to the end. I What I've been shown is that, well, and maybe not everybody will agree with this, but it is a perception that none of us get to actually leave until we all leave. This is
Mm,
what the law of one is about, and this is what the soul incarnation contract on this planet was about. Is that many of us, what I think is happening is that in between lifetimes, we can travel. In
mm,
between lifetimes, we can go visit previous soul records of incarnation that we took as a soul group in those systems, but that we come back here because the incarnation contract in the collective soul monad of the whole isn't finished here.
mm,
So we have, not only do we have like a tethering astral cord in this incarnation to this earth, but then we also have one also when the soul crosses to the greater contract of the whole. And so
yeah.
I think we're all going to see it through,
Well,
and
that makes sense.
yeah.
Like the rate that we are going right now, I think we'll graduate into becoming light beings, but we'll still have access to this so-called physical aspect of ourselves. Like we'll be able to move back and forth between worlds, if you will, right, with ease without having to reincarnate into the physical. I think that's my opinion
hmm
anyway.
hmm
So we'll have access, like, you'll be able to travel from 5D to 8D and then come back to 3D or whatever, and
hmm
do whatever you need to do in the 3D and then go back to 8D. So, say you're stationed at 8D, you'll be able to then come back and go, between the dimensions and work freely within these dimensions. So I think that's the way forward. And, that's how I envision this new Earth to be. You'll be living within multi dimensions and traveling within those dimensions with ease.
See, I can't wait to come back where I can interact with others at a highly psychic level. This to me is the creme de la creme. When me and you can sit here and communicate through emotional holograms and structures that we just form emotional holograms and play in the
Yeah.
holograms and send them back and forth because we both can see them and understand them.
Yeah.
We don't even have to speak. We communicate through the holograms.
Yeah.
We communicate directly through such heightened telepathy and telekinesis that we will just play in worlds that there was a movie, was it with Robin Williams, where they're like in the dream world and they're just like creating through the dream and they're creating structures and kingdoms and things like this? That's kind of how I see it will be. We will
Okay.
just think of something
Can't say that I've seen
together.
it.
I
Okay.
don't
Is
remember
it
the name
Toy
of it.
Story? I
No,
haven't seen Toy Story, but
it's
that's
like
one I could think about.
it's like what may come or what dreams may come or something like that.
Okay. No, I haven't seen it.
I can't remember. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
I just remember it like it just came up now. And I think that's how it will be. We'll be able to kind of live more in a conscious, lucid state
Mm,
and get to direct consciousness. And one of the things the Arcturians showed me when they came in and did like a pretty profound transmission with me is they showed me that we will actually through telekinesis, we will build things out of bioplastic. And I'm like, I remember I asked and I was like, plastic. I'm like, I don't want to say plastic. I didn't want to write plastic in the book. But they said that no, it's plastic because it will be like a conscious structure. And while it'll be like a living plasma plastic that's
mm,
malleable, that will construct according to like our thoughts and, our ability to just navigate matter through our mastery of light. Um,
mm.
and so I'm like, oh, okay. So it'll be like a malleable substance that's still conscious that can interact
Right.
with us. Um, so these are the timelines that I get so excited about because I get glimpses of them now.
Yeah.
When I went to Hawaii, and this is why the push came through, right? It's a Guardian Stargate location. I mean, it's
Yeah.
144 dimensional. It's
Yeah.
it's It's amazing.
I remember you were so excited when we
Oh yeah,
got back.
I'm going back. Yeah, I'm going back next summer. Um, but I was becoming tel I could doing telekinesis there. It's the only place
Mm,
I've ever experienced it before. And
beautiful.
that was how I got the understanding. When I came back to the mainland, I couldn't do it anymore.
Mm.
But
Wow, that tells you something, right? Yeah.
that's how I got the understanding. This is about us cultivating our energy with the planet. This is why our stargates are so important.
Mm,
That's how you know that we're not doing so good over here, is because the stargates are so overridden, the natural systems are so overpowered. There's so much negative inverted frequency and harmful frequency that's running. It's literally blocking our light bodies from being able to progress.
mm,
So yeah, again, that infrastructure has to change.
yeah. No, I like that. It almost takes you back to the science behind the pyramids, right? That's more of a more rigid way of bringing things into fruition or manifestation. But yeah, plastic sounds more malleable, but yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Mm.
Indy, I just want to touch on briefly about the imagery and the illustrations and the maps and the sigils and the symbols and the glyphs in your book. They were so beautifully created, and I just loved the visual aspect of it. And even the binding of your book, it's like so beautifully done. And so I want to commend you on that because I know that you're such a creative person and you put your heart into creating each of these things to such perfection. So yeah, if you want to share a little bit about that and perhaps show a few pictures if it's handy to the audience. And maybe I can probably add a few pictures. I don't know if I can do that in the
Well, yeah, I
description.
mean, if you have any favorite ones, I would love to know what your favorite illustrations are. But I just thank you so much for this. Thank you for like noticing these things, you know?
Oh, I know it's so beautiful. Like even the symbols, the sigils, the stamps. It's like all of them were so perfectly created. And
Even just
so
this.
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
just loved all of the imagery and the illustrations. So yeah, I just loved it all. And each one, is so activating. And when you study it, it just, it goes through your body and you see the impact of it. You see the codes within each of them. So it's really, really beautiful. The work that you've done, the energy that you've put into each of these
this
pictures.
is the last one that came in last minute. This was the last image, and that was
Oh,
the
beautiful.
Edenic Earth seal. Um, you have the plants in the corner, you have the bees, you have the Guardian Alliance seal, the Guardian Alliance emblem, the dove, the swan, the deer and the peacock, the fruit, the pomegranates. The symbol of the fruit is very important for Edenic Earth, and then the lamb and the lion. But all, beings, the hummingbird and the butterfly. Protect, restore, harmonize, anchor, activate, and ascend. And yeah, that was just one image that I think carried a lot of weight for this volume. But some of the things I love is, my light grid templates,
Yes.
with some of my older work. But, this was some of the stuff that I felt was really significant to how structurally we're coming upon the new Earth and how we're building that, how these things are forming, like where this information is coming from with in the planetary intelligence field. The Dove light grid template, yeah, that one was very significant. Let's see. I'm trying to find some of the sigils on the transmissions.
I remember you sent me one when you were working on it, and I think that was the Andromedan one, and that was just so beautiful, so beautiful. Yeah, I love it.
That one's the Palladian sigil.
Okay.
Yeah, and this one, what I did was the very colorful sigils are in volume one with the
Yes.
descriptions, but then on the transmissions, what you'll have is you'll have the celestial sigil code at the end of the transmission, just for, authorization and verification of that
Hmm.
transmission. So, and then all of them come with the Guardian seal on them as well for that stamp of certification.
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit what I want to touch into as well. It's all so official, the way these things were brought in, and I really appreciate that. It's almost like, you have your orders, your marching orders for the day, or for that chapter or whatever it is, and it's like you're presenting the document that brings forth this decree of the Guardian Alliance, and you've got the seals and you've got the dates, and it's so beautifully written out and laden into the book, and so. I really appreciated that as well.
That was completely Guardian Alliance guided, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's so interesting how I honestly had a lot of them already designed and created because I had been working with them all this time, a lot of the sigils and stuff.
Hmm.
And then as I was putting this together, I realized, okay, I have a lot of these sigils already. And then there was some that came through that were just directly from the GA, like the seals and the emblems and things like that, that they guided me through every aspect of putting this together. There wasn't one part of the book that, the GA didn't touch through me,
Right.
into the work. I feel like I was just an emissary. I was just a field anchor. I was just someone that was just meant to transmit the messages, and they're not really entirely mine. Like my work is in it, but a lot of it is the GA's messages,
Hmm.
And I also had to take a step back from that too, and just let that come through me, and
Yeah.
just transmit it as. I mean, there's so many transmissions that come through from them that. I have to like with my videos and stuff, I go back and rewatch my videos and learn from myself because sometimes you do get so caught up in the energy and the information and what's coming through that I don't even know what I say. Like I'm
Yeah.
retaining it, but I'm not always retaining all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it.
It's almost too much for my field at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's an interesting dynamic of it.
Yeah. You're listening to your own self, giving yourself that knowledge and wisdom, right? Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. You learn from yourself. Yeah.
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 Um, so I have words like the Mintakan Diamond Citadel and the Mintaka Blue Diamond Citadel and the Alasian Spiral and Commander Primus Theta Orion. Can you shine a light on all of these terms, if you will?
Yes. Well, do you see that breath I'm taking? Um, well, the Blue Diamond Citadel, this is what they showed me was headquarters in Mintaka for the Guardian Alliance. That this is where these are the diplomatic timelines. This is where they uphold the Christic restoration protocols to unfold, and that um, the Theta Orions are essentially the diplomatic councils within that system that are organizing that governance and are communicating on an interstellar, interplanetary, intergalactic level with all other beings that are coordinating through the alliance. This is where the main commands from the GA are issued.
Hmm.
So they're not actually issued necessarily from Andromeda or Arcturus, even though they're participating factions in the alliance that, all orders and commands essentially go through that system before they're basically relayed to Earth.
Okay.
Um, the Blue Diamond Citadel, now that is, well, it's an emblem in a way for what they represent.
Okay.
The blue diamond is a representation of the original primordial waters of Australasia, and where our waters ultimately came from. And so there is extensive creation history and records with the Hydra system that they poured primordial waters not only in this planet but also in the Mintaka system and also other places such as the other places in Orion. But, as history unfolded, there was Draco invasion. A lot of their systems were taken over by and through the AI WISA systems, and it started to be governed by non-organic life forms and autonomous robotic beings and things like this. And a lot of the organic life forms were like hunted, exiled, and basically destroyed. That all of the
Hmm.
Christos races in that system were destroyed. So the ones that were able to escape, they went to Mintaka. And a lot of reinforcement was brought in to actually safeguard that system from they have very strong shields. Like the shielding around the Mintaka system it's the strongest in the galaxy by far. Nothing can
Okay.
invade that. And that was brought together by intergalactic councils that formed that. So their system is tough. And the reason why it's there, the headquarters are there, is because of the battle that their system is under, the quarantines that are placed in their system, that basically the light comes from the deepest depth of the darkness. And that's
Mm.
basically what Orion represents. That's basically what the GA represents. And that's why it's so dear to their mission, their
That
global mission.
surprised me a little bit because Orion seems to be like the battlefield for quite a few of the old world wars, right? And so that surprised me a little bit that it's coming from Mintaka, but
Hmm.
that makes sense now.
Yeah.
So just circling back to what we started talking about a little bit in the beginning, I just want to shed some light on the more divine feminine aspects, let's say the mother arcing systems that exist within the planet, and how all of that connects in with the let's say the shielding or the how do I say this, um the suppression, let's say, of the divine feminine. And
Mhm.
so if you can talk about the Order of the Rose and the Magdalena and the Venusian priestesses and how all of these energies fit in with that evolution, if you will, or the reawakening of that divine feminine energy that's long been suppressed on so many levels, on so many aspects, and how that is awakening and gaining strength. And to me, it's like that final push, if you will,
Mhm.
that's going to sort of overturn all of this and bring that energy back into
Mhm.
balance between the divine masculine and feminine, and bring all of this energy and eventually sort of connect it to that new earth.
Well, it started in the beginning with multiple events, right? Planetary events that, well, I
Mhm.
mean, one was devastation and impact, planetary war history that took a toll on the Taran body, the original pre-Earth, it's like a seventh dimensional Earth, basically, that was impacted. And then also the origins of our moon, and the impaction of that on this planet and how the moon formed. That has a lot to do with where the feminine stands on this planet. It also goes back to our Venusian history and where certain Venusian gate systems and access points to our sister planet,
Yes.
technically our sister twin, and as we begun creation with Venus. So, one of the things that invader race forces did was that they fractured and severed our dimensional connection body with Venus, essentially.
Mhm.
So, and they did that by installing like Draco implants into the Venusian dome and things like this. Their system was once taken over by Dracos as well and things like this. They've now reclaimed certain aspects of their planet, but they're still also, targeted and things like this. But now it's about reconnecting the Venus Earth arcs back together to actually repower and generate these systems. Now, how this comes into the Magdalene bloodlines as well is because Venus carries our the Magdalene bloodline's soul structure. So, the Magdalene bloodlines are Venusian priestesses. They are the
Mhm.
highest 13th dimensional strand encoded goddesses basically walking the earth that carry all of the creation histories going back to the original primordial Stargate weavers, the descendancy of the original divine feminine matriarchal celestial. I don't want to call them angelics, but they are like our grandmothers, like our ancestral grandmothers, cosmic grandmothers that came and weave together the stargates. They weave together the race morphogenetic field, the universal tree of life, basically this planet's ability to bring life to it and to sustain life and created the birthing passage routes and things like this. And so this was an ancient celestial wisdom that our ancestors had, the ancestors of the Magdalene bloodlines, Isis bloodlines, Sophia bloodlines, of divine creation, of divine birthing rites, the womb rites, the Stargate rites and things like this. So a lot of people may not recognize, but the Stargates are the story of fertility.
Mm.
It's the story of the womb, of the nurseries, of creation and all of this. So they are technically the rightful authorities over the Stargate portals on the planet. Now, all these things happened because obviously that's a core source of power. That's a core source of control. You control that. This is what all the invader races covet. They covet that power. They
Mm.
want to be in control of those birthing portals, the gate system. So how they had to do that was to flip creation basically upside down. Everybody basically worshiping disguised antichrist false ascension technologies. Um, weaponizing the systems against us, all these things, right? But it comes back to, it goes all the way back to, those impacts where the mother body was essentially weakened, and then fragmented with the higher new earth body, the golden age body, and things like this. And then, capped our consciousness in so many ways by deterioration of our DNA. And basically keeping and withholding the Mary Magdalene's birthing right technologies, Stargate right technologies, withholding this from her gnosis. As
Mm.
long as they can separate that out of the divine feminine's gnosis, they have full control of that. They have control of all of the negative races getting to invade and uh, basically birth on this planet at whatever rate they want to. Because if the divine feminine knew that they controlled those gate systems by their what they do and don't allow, by whether they're going to lay down and seed with a reptilian or not, and bring these souls on the planet. If we shut the gate systems down, they don't have access to it. We change the whole game on the planet, basically. They know that if we learn that,
Mm.
they're done for. That's actually the true way to get all of these negative ETs off the planet, is we develop the insight and awareness around those things.
And it's
Because,
within the DNA, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's within each and every one of us. We just have to wake up to that potential, right? Yeah.
The awareness of it
Mm-hmm.
and the technology of it, yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. But this isn't anybody's fault, because I mean, it is it is about taking accountability, actually. Us all taking accountability, but at the same time there is this level of, yeah, realizing like how much of this information has been withheld from the collective, from the communities, that sacred birthing rites, consciousness evaluation and identification of the levels of the being, if this was something that was like integrated into like mating protocols, like things like this. They don't, we are completely withheld the things we need for organic harmony on the earth. Like this is what the deterioration of the 12 strand DNA was ultimately about. This is what the original tribal wars were about. This is what the Ioni massacre was about. This is what the original beginning of the forced breeder programs was about. Them taking over and hijacking the first Stargate hijack war, which was a Hydra Draco war, the first war on the planet. And this is why I've come forward as this is why I am a Hydra ambassador, is
Mm-hmm.
because those memories, those records are inside me, basically. So they basically showed me that it was the Hydra gate systems that they took down. The Draco had to take those down because they were the original womb gates. It was with the Hydra and the Venusian alliance that actually held the energetic structure to SS-10, which was the original Stargate hijack for the original planetary invasion that occurred.
That's in Iran, right? Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Wow. So we come full circle to that now, right? And it's still being held hostage.
It is. It is. So
Yeah.
it's like we know the clearing is happening,
Mm.
but it's little by little, layer by layer.
Yeah.
It really will require the Magdalene bloodlines to fully ascend in the Stargate devastation zones and sites on the planet. So that's SS3 and SS10. Those are the two most, well, I just call them
That's the Bermuda, right?
Stargate devastation sites. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Bermuda and Iran. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Cool.
because all of the wreckage body of Atlantis is still um, in SS3. And once the Stargate implodes, or it basically is completely wrecked or taken down, that's when they can collapse it into a wormhole system. It becomes a wormhole system. So
Mm.
that's where and how they can invade, is because then they can plug their black cords into that black hole command center, because it becomes inverted, and it becomes a magnetic field that's basically just sucking energy and power
Mm-hmm.
into it. And so they can tap into those, and then they can um, basically tunnel into the planet.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And so all of these places that are, let's say, sensitive to these Venusian and Earth energies are the mother arcing sites, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And the two major mother arcing sites is in Kauai, Hawaii, and the Nepali coast, and Uluru. Those are the
Right.
two.
Right.
There might be more major, there's Venusian temples. I don't know if there's other major Venusian superstructures.
Okay.
Those are the only two that I've been shown up until this point.
Okay.
But
And I think that's sort of directly relates to what you're working on now with your transmissions of the mermaids, right? That's in the Bermuda Triangle region, correct?
yes,
Well, I know
yes.
you've talked to them all across the Earth, but specifically for SS3, you've sort of activated that now, correct?
Yeah, I never communicated with mermaids to this extent before. They mean living in Florida. I mean, the last few years, I noticed that they were like coming up. Their spirits were coming into my pool. They were accessing my house. Like, it was like I was always feeling them around 24/7. But something happened when I did well, I actually had a dream that the whole like a whole Atlantean record just came in through a dream, and I woke up the next morning, and then I just went immediately into remote viewing SS3, and I was getting guided that we needed to assess the damage of the wreckage body of Atlantis. That this actually hasn't been fully assessed.
Mhm.
I've just seen layers of this. I don't even have the full record, but the beings that came forward to help me were the Atlantic diamond mermaids. They're like a whole mermaid civilization in the Atlantic that have temples all through the Atlantic. And they were showing me that the wreckage body lays on the outside of the Poseidon gates. So there's like these big Poseidon gates. They do have mermen there that are like guarding that gate, basically. They don't like their mer people to go beyond the Poseidon gate and go into the wreckage body, because they become subjugated through secret space programs and like lurking vehicles in the water that will capture them and take them for organic tissue cloning. They'll like extract their organic tissues. They do like horrible, horrendous things to the mermaids, basically. So they
I
don't,
can imagine.
yeah, it's like it's like an elephant's graveyard or something. It's
Mm.
like a haunting, gloomy place. There's broken crystal spires everywhere that are holding like dark energy in the crystals. The mermaids were showing me that they need sound healing to reharmonize those crystals.
Mm.
They're saying
Makes
that
sense,
we
yeah.
can't fix the broken spires, but we can slowly reharmonize through sound healing. So there's a lot of work that needs to
Oh,
be done
yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And, like I said, every time, I think that, oh, Indy is like on this, she's like, okay, she's finished these two massive books now. It's like we have to digest all of this, and wham, you hit us with mermaids. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is truly amazing.
Well, because in my mind, these books are complete.
Yes,
Like, and you know what I went through. Like,
yes.
because I've been messaging you, and I've been like, I think I probably did a lot of complaining to you. I'm so sorry.
No, no, not at all, not at
This
all. You
is
were
a lot
going
of
through
ups
the
and downs.
process, and so I loved it. I felt like I was in the trenches there with you. So, it was beautiful to stand behind you and, give you whatever support I could. So, yeah, it was a beautiful experience for me too, even though I was on the sidelines. So, thank you for sharing your experience.
Oh, yes, yes. You're so welcome, and thank you for being there. And yeah, like truly, being supportive. And but yeah, in my mind, I mean, they're complete. So it's like
Yeah,
I
you
have
can
to
move
keep
on now.
bringing in the next thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But it must be like such a great accomplishment, right? For you to just say, "Ha, I'm done with that." It's like it's finished now. It's like, you can almost close 10 years of your life and say, "Okay, those chapters are done and I can do something more now, something different." Do you feel
Yeah.
that? Do you feel that relief?
Not really. I mean, you think I would, but I'm very like bonded to the books. Like that I mean, this is like my manual
Yes.
for everything. So it's like I am constantly still in them. I do constantly still read them. I actually sleep with them next to my bed.
Yeah.
Like
No, I
here,
totally get
here's
it.
my pillow and then
It's
like
like a
here's the
living
books.
it's like a living transmission, right? Yeah. So it's like you're
Yes.
learning all the time. I
Yes.
totally get it.
And
I
everything new
can't
that's
wait to
coming in
get,
is connected
yeah.
to something else that's already in here.
Yeah,
You know,
I
it's
can't
like
wait to get the physical books myself. I've just got volume two as a PDF, but I would so love to get them, but I will soon. But yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you for all the work that you've done. Was there anything that we haven't talked about in terms of the book or where we hope to go in this conversation?
the only other thing would be maybe the Starford event that's coming up.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
and I really hope that you can make it. So I don't know, maybe we should talk about, something. We can I feel like maybe we can figure something out, you know?
No, we'll definitely talk about that. But yeah, please go ahead and yeah, just share with everybody what's coming up for you.
Yeah, so September 18th through the 22nd, I'm doing a Starford event here at Fort Pickens, which is a lot of people don't realize. Well, everybody's like, why'd you move to Pensacola? Like, why do you live in Pensacola? Like, I have, friends that are like, why don't you live in a more spiritual city like Sedona? And
I'm going to share screen so people can have a look at it.
oh, thank you so much. But it keeps unfolding why I'm here more and more. Pensacola is actually the first city in the entire United States. Like this is where the ships landed. They landed here in Pensacola. So everybody thinks it's St. Augustine, in like the 1500s, but Pensacola has it beat by like 5 years. This is where the original explorers, even where, I'm wondering like if this is where Christopher Columbus first came. Maybe he first came here. I need to research that. But so this is really truly the beginning, the origins of the United States. Um, and so Fort Pickens is a World War II star fort. It's a five-sided fort. And one of the transmissions that came through was when I worked heavily with the Lyrans. That's why I'm calling it a Lyran Gridwork activation retreat, is because Starfort technology is Lyran technology in architectural form. And so there's a lot of anchoring we can do of celestial frequencies, energies, knowledge, technology that we can anchor and utilize within the fort itself.
I think you
And
have a picture of it, yeah, at the bottom. Oh,
yes,
there it is, yeah.
yes. Um, and it's surrounded by water on all sides. It is out on a point, so it's like out on an island. And it's really the most intact star fort, and the location of and the history. So there's so much that's coming together here. And then we also have the Blue Angels, which they're like the jet like flight squadron of the Navy. And we just had a whole air show that they did, but I mean, people love the Blue Angels. Like they are like technically guardians in like military form. Like if there was an actual white hat type of group, the Blue Angels kind of represent that. They represent the ones who guard our coastal region and fight to protect that. So it's a huge celebration. And we really do have a lot of ley lines that activate here the blue diamond frequencies, the blue diamond coast. It is an extension arm of Stargate 2. It's not Stargate 2 itself. Sarasota is Stargate 2. But that frequency really runs all the way up to Biloxi, Mississippi, and even, into Louisiana, which is where I really, really connected with the mermaids. The mermaids are very active in Louisiana.
Mm, okay.
So there's a whole Gulf living ecosystem here that is just if you want the whole aquatic guardian experience, I mean it's technically here. This is where this is where you're gonna get all the codes.
Mm.
So in the retreat, yeah, we're gonna be on a boat. I'm gonna do a private boat, and we'll be connecting with the 400 dolphins that we have here in the Gulf. And the marine biologists do get out there and count them, so we know that we have 400 bottlenose Atlantic dolphins. And I say there's 444 because I think they're out there making a lot of babies really fast. Because the last time I was out there, they look like they're playing or they're like wrestling a lot, but I think they're out there mating like crazy.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
They're such
So
loving creatures, right? So that totally makes sense.
they love to make love. Um, but yeah, I think we'll do some water ceremony on our private rented boat. Um, we will do a Blackwater River float as well. So there's the Blackwater National Forest, which is where we have these really black waters. Okay, it's like all the elements that are coming from the black trees, basically. And so you're basically floating down a river of like tea, tree tea. Yeah.
Okay.
And the Blackwater River is so
That's
clearing.
on Monday, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, that's this one.
it's so clearing. Like, yeah, black energy clearing, water elemental clearing, meditation and prayer. So what you do is you kind of meet up at the bottom of the river, and then you have these school buses that drive you 2 hours up the river and drop you off with your float. And then what we do is we tile our floats together, and then we put a big speaker in our center of our float, which is gonna play meditation music, okay? And we're gonna float 2.5 hours down the river together,
Oh, wow.
clearing
Sounds
and
amazing.
connecting with, yeah, it's for one, it's fun. For two, it's serious energy work. It's like, I have to even warn people, like when you get out of that river, every time I've ever left Blackwater River, like I'm usually crying because it does move a lot of energy when you're
Mm.
on the river for that long floating. Um, so just be prepared for a really deep clearing with that one. Um, and then the fort picking ceremony will be on the last day. So that's actually going to be on the equinox. And I have rented a private campsite for that one. I am saying that this day is technically free. So like this is a free day. So if like anybody in the area is close and wants to come do this for a night with us, they are invited. You know, if you want to just come out for the free day, you can. But everything else is included. If you want to do all the other things, that's included in the ticket. But the reason why I did it free was because I think there was a lot of like guardian energy around this site that like it just has to be treated with the highest like level of reciprocity with the land there. And we have space for up to 40 people at that campsite and 12 tents. So anybody who wants to like sleep out, but we will do our fire ceremony here,
Okay.
essentially. So yeah, it's gonna be
And
amazing.
it sounds so exciting. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'll do my very, very best to be there, but at the moment, it's not looking very positive
Ugh,
that I will make it, but I'm gonna do my darndest to be there, Indy. I really want to, but we'll see how things go.
okay. Well, we'll talk about it. We'll see, what we can do. And
Okay, thank you.
okay.
Yeah, so that is the event coming up in September, and I will have links for that in the description for anyone that wants to sign up. And of course, the free day that Indy just talked about. So anybody living close to Pensacola, Florida can do that as a day trip. But definitely check it out, folks. This sounds like a beautiful event to partake in and to involve yourself with Indy's teachings and just, come face to face with her as a human being. And,
Mm.
I've known Indy now for a couple of years, I think, Indy. And, she's
Yeah.
truly blessed my life in so many ways. So we haven't
Aw.
yet met in the physical, but just from speaking to you and working with you, I just love everything about this being. So get to know her on whatever level you can. And thank you so much for this interaction, Indy. You've taken us on so many journeys, and so much wisdom has been transmitted here to us today during this conversation. And so I know I will be listening back to this conversation and just absorbing everything that transpired. But yeah, your information and your knowledge is just so deep and so vast. So thank you, thank you, thank you for everything that you do in taking humanity to that next level of ascension, you know? So it's really
Yeah.
beautiful.
You
Um,
really feel like I've played a part in taking us to the next level?
oh my gosh, leaps and bounds, really. Yeah, you have, totally you have. And for me personally, you know, you've taught me so much about grid working, which brings me to what's coming up in my reality. You know, I've learned the ins and outs of grid working from you, and I've taken one of your courses, but that has been, you know, so momentous in me, like just directing my energy into a more focused way because I was doing grid work before I met you, but you know, you brought everything into a finer focus, into that fine tuning, if you will, of how to do a grid work mission. And
Mm.
so I've planned a grid work mission coming up on the Lionsgate gateway or portal, right, on the 8th of August. And so I'm aligning, or I got the impression that we need to work on the emotional body of humanity. So I'm focusing on that for this grid work mission. But it ties into everything that we've talked about here, you know, focusing
Mm.
on that primordial water, on the fire, and fire being the alchemy with the waters. And so, you know, we're working on the mother arcing
Mm.
sites as well. And so all of this sort of converges into that healing the emotional energy, if you will, within the collective. So that's the focus of my gridwork coming up in August. So I'll put a link to that as well if anybody wants to join us. I'm hosting this with the two Shikinas who you know as well. And so they will be helping me with this gridwork mission. So I would encourage anybody to join us if you're interested in this sort of work. Um, but yeah, I think that's it for announcements. But thank you everybody for being here and sharing this space with this beautiful goddess, Indigo Angel. And I do hope you will come back, Indy.
Absolutely. And yeah, I hope everyone comes and joins your Gridwork mission. And thank you for doing it. Thank you for doing the missions because I've slowed down and you're still offering those missions. That's so important. So thank you so much for doing the work. And
Yeah, thank you.
I
It's
really
it's truly
appreciated this.
fruitful. Yeah, thank you. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I will see you soon. Namaste.
Namaste.